Hey guys, in today's episode, what we're going to talk about is the Chinese bamboo dream realization process. Here's what I need you to understand. Regardless of what you do in life, everything has a process. Okay, things don't just happen. Okay, most things, let's put it that way. Most things don't just happen. Okay, there's a process that has to take place. And when it comes to your dream, 1000%, there's a process that's going to have to take place. Now, hopefully your process will go faster than others, but in general, when it comes to most people realizing their dream, there's going to be a process involved. And so I want to talk to you about the Chinese bamboo plant or tree or whatever you'd like to call it, because I think you can get some really good information or understanding about what it would look like, what it might look like in order for you to actually accomplish your dream. Let's talk about it. Welcome to another episode of Career Strategies. My name is Rodney Hughes, Mr. 100%. Today's episode is being brought to you by Interview Prep University. If you need help preparing for an upcoming telephone, video, or face-to-face interview, this is a 100% free virtual training platform that is designed to help you exponentially improve your job interview skills so that you can be best prepared going into that interview. It's 100% free and you don't have to sign up for anything. Okay, all you have to do is go to this website, www.interviewprepuniversity.com. Again, that's www.interviewprepuniversity.com, and you'll gain immediate access. All right. So in today's episode, what we're talking about is the Chinese bamboo dream realization process. So first, let's start with what Chinese bamboo is. Okay, Chinese bamboo is some people consider it a plant, some people consider it a tree. The Chinese bamboo has a very interesting growth process. Okay, and I think there's something that can really be learned from it. So let me explain. First off, let me tell you where I first learned about Chinese bamboo from. Always got to give credit, right? So I learned about it from Les Brown. Les Brown is a world-renowned speaker, public speaker. He was huge back in, I think, like the 80s and 90s, and just a great, phenomenal speaker. And I remember him talking about the Chinese bamboo and how, the realization of your dream could end up looking kind of like what it takes in order to realize Chinese bamboo. So let me tell you what makes this such a unique plant or tree or whatever you like to call it. Here's what happens when you decide that let's say you decided you wanted to grow some Chinese bamboo. Okay. You would end up planting the seed, which I think they said is about the size of an acorn. You would plant it in the ground, and you would have to remain committed to watering that plant every single day, and making sure that the fertilizer was well fertilized, I guess you could say, every single day. And you would have to really commit for the long term, as far as nourishing that plant and really nurturing that plant over the course of about a 5-year period. Okay. Now, what's interesting is that when you're nurturing that plant, when you're watering it and taking care of the soil and all those different things that you would do to grow a healthy plant, the interesting thing about the Chinese bamboo is that over the first 5 years that it's planted in the ground, it more than likely it won't even break through the ground. So it will look like, if you didn't know any better, that you were wasting your time for 5 years. How many people do you know? If I didn't tell them, if I didn't tell you that when you plant Chinese bamboo, that it would take you approximately 5 years before you even see any type of success above the ground. How many people do you think would actually remain disciplined and encouraged and continue to go after that dream? Well, what ends up happening though, after 5 years of consistently nurturing that plant, something really interesting happens. Over a 6-week time frame, okay, after the 5th year, about over a 6-week time frame, that plant will eventually start to grow out the ground, and over that 6-week time frame, it will grow to over 90 feet tall in a 6-week time frame. Do you understand what I'm saying here? It will grow 90 feet, sometimes even 100 feet tall, within a 60 to 90 day time frame. Very much like some of these tall trees that you see out here. I mean, could you imagine that? Could you imagine just looking at a plant that you've been consistently watering, right? And you hadn't seen nothing, right? Everything that has taken place with the plant has taken place beneath the ground. And could you imagine that over a 6-week time frame, it could explode to that height? There's a lot to be learned by that, and it's a real thing. I mean, go ahead and do your research online. You'll see exactly what I'm talking about. And it's something really interesting because here's the thing. Different people have different experiences. Okay. And the thing that I don't really, the thing that kind of sucks about the days and times that we live in right now is that we have so much access to information that I think it kind of creates somewhat of a false sense of reality. So I found myself in this situation several times where, you know, like I'll give you a real example, because I always like to use myself as an example, because I don't want you to ever think that when I'm talking on these episodes that I'm just talking to you. Like when I'm talking, I'm also talking about myself as well. But to be very specific here, I fully intended, once I graduated college, I fully intended to be a millionaire by the age of 30. I'm currently 33. I am not a millionaire. Okay? But I could remember almost slipping into a mild depression around 31, 32. And I call it mild depression. I probably wouldn't even call it a depression because I take that very seriously. I know there are people that really have legit depressions, and I want to be respectful of that. But I'll just say here, I was getting into somewhat of a negative mental state because I just knew that by the age of 30, I was going to be a millionaire. Okay. And whatever that means, right? The things that come along with being a millionaire, right? And here it was, I got to 30 and I wasn't even close, not even remotely in the realm of being a millionaire. And I'm still not remotely in the realm at this given point of being a millionaire. But it started to kind of take a toll on my mentality. Like I started to feel kind of down because it was like, man, I'm really a failure. I'm legit a failure. Okay. And the thing that I've been thinking about recently is that, again, because we have so much access to information, it's so easy to see some of the people that are doing like huge things, and you can start to kind of compare yourself to them. But you got to understand that like some of these people are anomalies, right? So like, for instance, as a good example, me and the guy over Facebook, Mark Zuckerberg. Me and Mark Zuckerberg are almost the same age. I mean, he might be a little bit older than me, or we're right around the same age, kind of, right? He's like one of the wealthiest people in the world. Okay. And because we have so much access to information and so much access to seeing the things that he's able to do with his company, I mean, you know, if you're not looking at things properly, you could easily compare yourself to Mark Zuckerberg and be like, dude, I am such a loser. Okay. And that's just not the case. The reality is that everybody has their process. that they're going to have to go through. Some people are able to find success in their given field a lot faster than others. But just because it may take you a little bit longer over time doesn't mean that you're a failure. You understand? And I had to come to realize that, right? And I also had to realize, like, he had a sense of clarity in what it was he was doing at a much younger age than I did. When I was in college, when he and I both were in college, he was thinking on like a completely different playing field than the way I was thinking when I was in college. I was just, doing my thing in college, and he was like trying to ding the galaxy. Okay? I mean, like, that's what he was on a totally different mind lane, right? Or mind wave, or whatever you want to call it. So again, the thing you got to understand, okay, and this is one of the things I've had to really come to grips with, is that everything is a process. And once you start beating down the path of, your destiny, or of what it is you believe you're put on this planet to do, that doesn't mean that it's going to necessarily happen overnight. It doesn't mean that it's not going to happen overnight. Let's start there. Okay. But it also doesn't mean that it will happen overnight. And so, like, for me, I have a sense of certainty, a sense of clarity right here, right now, as we speak, about where I'm going in the future that I didn't have for the first 30 years of my life. Okay. This is just a fact. Like, I know exactly where I'm going for the next 40, 50 years of my life. For sure. Easily. I know exactly where I'm going. I know exactly what I'm doing. And the actions that I'm taking right now might not necessarily make sense to a whole bunch of people, but they make perfect sense to me. I know exactly where I'm going right now, right? And here's the thing. I'm taking a whole bunch of action right now, and I'm not getting that immediate, like, the immediate success that I would ideally love, but that's okay, because I'm playing the long game now. I'm playing the long game now, and I understand that it might take a year, 2 years, 3 years of just crushing it in order for me to start to really gain traction. And I'm okay with that. Okay. And what I want you to understand about your dream is that depending on how big your dream is, it very well could take time in order for you to accomplish it. Matter of fact, depending on how big your dream really is and how serious you are about that really big dream, you might be doing something or working towards something that you may not even be able to accomplish in your lifetime. Like just a few moments ago, I was looking at the second Iron Man, right? Because, like, we all know that the end game is coming up shortly, right? I'm super excited about that, by the way. Like, that actually ties right into this. I've been reading articles about how big this movie is likely going to be and how it's going to break all kind of, box office numbers and all this type of stuff. But the thing you got to keep in mind is that the Marvel Cinematic Universe has been being strategically developed over the last 10, 11 years. Okay. Everything's been pointing up to this point, right? It didn't just happen overnight, right? We had to see the evolution of Iron Man. We had to see the evolution of Thor. We had to see the evolution of all of these characters who, Black Panther and all these different characters that have come up in the cinematic universe up to this point toward the end of phase 3. There's a lot of work. There's a lot of foundation that was laid, and there were successes along the way, right? But there was a lot of work that had to be done in order to get it to this point where they're about to win in a major way. Okay. And so again, I ask you, right? How committed are you to your vision? First off, do you have a vision of where you're going? Can you sit here and honestly say, exactly where you're trying to go in the next 20, 30, 40, 50 years? If the answer is no, that's okay. It really is. It doesn't even matter if you're 50, 60 years old right now. If you don't necessarily have the answer, it's okay. There are people in there. There are people throughout history who have gotten started really late, okay? Or as they would perceive, really late, okay? And then they've gone on to do amazing things. It's amazing how much ground can actually be covered in a year, 5 years, 10 years, if you really apply yourself, right? So it's okay if you don't have your vision, but if you don't have a vision, that's the very first thing that you need to be doing, okay? Then once you have the vision of what it is you're trying to work toward, then you got to start taking massive, like unreasonable amounts of action, right? That's like me. Like when it comes to podcasting, it's interesting. I actually laugh about it because I first off, once I found out about podcasting, which wasn't none but like 2 weeks ago. I knew about podcasting before that, but once I found out what I could do to get into podcasting, and it was like, oh my gosh, I'm about to go super freak mode on doing these podcasts. I got so much stuff that I want to talk about, so many things I want to share with the world to be able to impact the world, right? And so that's why I'm dropping a piece of content every day for a year. That's a goal that I have in mind. I don't know what's going to come out of it, right? But you know what I do know? I know that it feeds directly into my long-term vision. Remember I told you I know exactly where I'm going in the next 40, 50 years? This ties into it, right? And I'm willing to put the work in now, right? And do I hope that I start generating success sooner than later? Absolutely. I'd love to be able to say that in less than a year, I was able to accomplish some great things and help a tremendous amount of people and change lives and do all these different things. I'd love to be able to say that. I'd love to be able to say that I've been able to, do this and then turn this into a profitable business. I'd love to be able to say that, right? But here's the thing though. What if it takes 2 years in order for me to generate success? What if it takes 4 years? What if, just like Chinese bamboo, it takes 5 years of remaining diligent, of remaining focused, of remaining consistent? Consistency, discipline. These are all very important words. See, because here's the thing about Chinese bamboo. I like to jump all over the place, but I'm always tie it all in. See, here's the thing about Chinese bamboo. If at any given point, the person who was trying to grow this Chinese bamboo would have just neglected it, just said, you know what, it's enough. It's been 2 years. Unfortunately, a lot of people probably would have been like, dude, it's been a month. It's been a month of me doing this. And, I ain't seeing no results. I ain't even seeing the bamboo grow above the ground. It don't look like anything's happening down there. If at any given point they would have neglected it and just walked away from that Chinese bamboo, you know what would have happened to that bamboo? It would have died. You understand that? It would have been poof, dead. That's what would have happened to it. And that's what will happen to your dream if you don't nurture it. See, that's really what I want to do. That's really the purpose of this episode, is to help you understand that, number one, you got to have the vision enough to even want to plant your dream. Okay? Then you have to have the belief enough to remain consistent, diligent, disciplined when it comes to nurturing that dream. Okay? Because at any given point, if you waver when it comes to your belief in the fact that you're gonna really be successful, regardless of what you see, you're gonna continue to put the work in day after day. You're gonna continue to nurture your dream day after day. if you don't get to the point of believing that much to where even if you see very little success in your present situation, that you're going to remain committed to it and see things through, then unfortunately, your dream might just die. That's just the reality of it. Just like the Chinese bamboo. But, keyword, but, if you put your head down, you make up in your mind, I ain't freaking quitting. There ain't nothing that anybody can tell me to knock me off my. I'm telling you, I feel so energized about the vision that I have right now. The vision I'm working toward right now. My goal is that while I'm alive, okay, my goal is I want to have a long life. Let me state that, okay? I want to have a long life. I want to see my grandkids grow old. I want to see my son grow old. I want to see him, raise a family. I want to see my grandkids grow old. And I want to be able to do that with my wife, right? And then from a career perspective, throughout my career, I want to make such a huge impact. I want to be able to help the lives of billions of people while I'm alive, right? So often people that touch a lot of people end up doing so after they have left this world. I want to touch people while I'm here. I want to reach a billion people and legitimately be able to help different people in different ways with the content that I create. And I know that it's not going to happen overnight. You understand? So that's why I'm going to remain consistent. I'm going to remain diligent. What's happened in the past with past ventures doesn't even matter, right? Even what's going to happen in the future, I don't even have to necessarily think. Like, all I need to know is where I am going. That's the beautiful thing about a vision. You understand? I just need to know exactly where I'm going. I don't need to know how I'm gonna get there. Doesn't matter. The world will be the path to my door. The more that I remain consistent, the more that I remain disciplined, the more that I continue to nurture that vision that I have, I know that I'm going to get there. And that's what you got to be like with your vision. You got to know that regardless of how long it may take you 1 month, it may take you 1 year, it may take you 1 decade, it may take you 1 lifetime in order for you to accomplish your goal. But you need to operate as if it is an absolute certainty that it's going to happen. Because see, here's the thing. When I think about somebody growing Chinese bamboo, you have to have a sense of certainty that bamboo is going to come out that ground in 5 years. Right? It's so easy. It would be so easy to give up on that plant because you don't see nothing. Can you imagine? I mean, I want you to think about that for a second. Now, and for me, it stands out even more because I don't have a green thumb. I don't have a green thumb. I don't like dealing with plants and stuff. So I know, first off, my level of impatience is outrageous. Okay. So that's why I don't really deal with plants that much. So can you imagine somebody like me watering a spot where I planted something and nobody giving me the heads up that it's going to take 5 years for something to grow out the ground? Dude, by the end of month 1, I'm like, what the freak is going on here? You see? But again, that's why I'm trying to tell you, okay? Whatever your dream is, and I'm not saying it's going to take 10 years. It could take 1 day for you to pop off. Okay, and start having great success. I mean, that's the interesting thing about success in the business space, is that sometimes it takes a long time for things to work out. Sometimes it takes no time. for things to work out. Okay. But this message isn't really for people that where it's going to take no time. Listen, if it takes no time, then great. I mean, that's awesome. I'm happy for you. Right. But this message is for the overwhelming majority of other people. The overwhelming majority of people that I know that have had a successful career, it didn't just happen overnight. Okay? It didn't. I think about all the professionals that I've met in my life that have successful businesses and things of that nature. It didn't happen overnight for most people. Matter of fact, I'm not even sure I've ever met someone who was legitimately an overnight success. I'm sure that they exist. I just haven't met them. And so that's why it's so important that you learn to believe in your vision, believe in your dream, and be willing to nurture your dream. Because the moment you stop nurturing your dream, you may have just killed your dream. And here's the interesting thing. I truly believe this. The world needs your dream to come true. It does. I don't know what you want to accomplish in your career, but I know this. In order for you to be successful, you have to help other people be successful in some way, shape, fashion, or form. Right? You have to impact the lives of other people. Now, hopefully you're impacting their lives in a positive way. I really do hope so. So I kind of retract that statement I just made a second ago, because, you know, I guess there are people who are able to have some type of monetary success, even though they're hurting people. But I hope that your goal is to help people. And if your goal is to help people, the people who end up being successful, where that's their goal, they essentially have to help people, right? And that's why the world needs you to be successful. But again, you got to understand that it may be a process. It may not happen overnight. And you got to be okay with that. And you got to be okay with falling in love with the doing of what it is that you're doing. Right? You got to fall in love with it. It has to be more than just a money thing. And if you're willing to make it more than just a money thing, some great things can happen. If you're willing to nurture your dream for however long it takes, right? Until you figure out the things you need to figure out, and you put the things in place that need to be in place for you to be massively successful, you got to be willing to remain committed to nurturing. And if you're willing to do that, some amazing things can happen. Now, let me ask you a question. What if, now this is a totally different subject, by the way. What if I could teach you a step-by-step system that could help you exponentially eliminate 99% of your competition anytime you get in a job interview process? Would that be something you would be interested in learning more about? Well, if the answer is yes, I want you to pick up a copy of my book, The Ugly Truth About Getting Hired: How to Land the Job of Your Dreams Regardless of the Competition. Here's the deal. Right here, right now as we speak, competition is fierce in the job market. But over the next 5, 10, 15, 20, 30 years from today, the competition is going to become absolutely insane. With the technological advancements that are being made on a daily basis, the competition is going to get so outrageous. I'm talking about it's going to make your head spin. And the people who are going to have a competitive advantage when that happens are going to be people who know how to strategically beat out their competition in a moral and ethical way. And that's what this book is all about. It's all about teaching you how to eliminate most of your competition so that you can position yourself as the ideal candidate of choice. If you'd like to learn more about that, go ahead and pick up a copy at www.theuglytruthbook.com. Again, that's www.theuglytruthbook.com. When you purchase a physical copy of this book, you will immediately gain access to a free downloadable version of this book so you can immediately jump into the content. All right. It's a short read packed with outrageous amounts of value. And again, just go ahead and pick up a copy when you have a brief moment. www.theuglytruthbook.com. Listen, thank you so much for checking out this episode. Hopefully you got great value out of this. If you did, drop a note. Tell me what you thought about it. I want to hear your feedback. And also, do me a favor, share this content on your social media platform. Share it with other people so that other people can get great value out of this as well. All right, until next time, be blessed, and I'll see you in the next episode.